Yeah.
All right, guys, welcome again to Flying High with the Birds Eagles Talk. This is week 3. Eagles played the Dallas Cowboys. With me today is the big V, Jimmy.
What's going on, boys?
The Armenian Hammer, Vahe.
What's up, guys?
And I'm hoping you lay the hammer down tonight, Vahe.
Definitely.
You better.
If I was the owner, I'll be firing everybody.
That's right. And then finally, Goodwill Hunting Sealy.
Hey, what's up? I thought you were gonna make another Sealy's mattress joke.
Yeah, no, it's a different one every week. But anyway, let's get right into this. Eagles lose 41-21. Let's start with the injuries. Isaac Saimalu, he's got a Lisfranc injury. He is out for the season. Kayvon Wallace is also on IR. The injuries are starting to pile up. The first week let's just go back here. First week, they won all 3 phases against Atlanta. Then last week, they should have won the game against San Francisco. Probably lost all 3 phases, barely in some respects. Last night, they completely lost in all 3 phases. Out of 42 offensive plays, and that's not counting Hurts's runs, it was 39-3 pass to the run, which is absolutely absurd. And I don't think they've had anything like that in like 50 years almost. The lack of discipline here shows they have a league leading 35 penalties, including 13 last night. The Cowboys absolutely controlled time of possession, 35 minutes to 25 minutes. And it really should have been more than that because they let the Eagles go in that one drive for a while near the end of the game. And I got to tell you, I'm going to give a little bit of a plug to the Cowboys. I mean, they are really going to be a high octane defense or offense, and their defense even looks better than it was last year. So they're going to have a say in the NFC. Now, the last stat I want to give you, and I don't know what it really means, is that Hurts was 25 for 39 for 326 yards and 2 TDs, which looks really good in the stats, but we all know exactly what he did and did not do. Jimmy, give me your thoughts on Sirianni's game plan.
Terrible. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, everything he did was a question mark. I kind of thought they were in trouble from the beginning of the week when he had the Beat Dallas shirt on. I'm all for, whatever, but I don't think he needs to be doing that. And I just think everything was a disaster from the beginning. And he looked like a deer in headlights at times. Like the end of the first half, we were within 20 yards of field goal range or something. And we punt the ball, and Dallas wasn't using any of their timeouts. So that definitely stuck out to me. And just the whole game plan. And I don't know. Definitely questioning everything he does right now.
I'm just curious, who listened to his press conference after the game?
Oh, it was the freaking worst. I can't even express how embarrassed and just disappointed I am in this whole organization. Like you're gonna get your ass kicked. Excuse my language, but you're gonna get your ass kicked, and then you're gonna go on to your press conference and say, "Oh, Dak Prescott was such a great quarterback, and their coaching staff really executed." I don't want to hear any of that stuff as a fan. Get out of here with that. I hate Dallas. I don't ever want to hear anything about them complimenting the team that just steamrolled you. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was. And I'll tell you, that's not going to fly in this town. I mean, it seems like all of a sudden he's taking that nice guy approach. That's not going to fly in this town. I mean, I'll tell you, I was pissed last night. They were soft. This team, outside of Hargrave, this football team was soft. And I really felt like they were going to do something special this year. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I really do think that they were going to really surprise a lot of people. And now I'm really questioning, not the whole coaching staff, but I'm really starting to question Sirianni. So begs the question, Vahe, I mean, they were talking on Sports Talk today about the possibility that this game plan really came down from the front office. I mean, with all the passing, do you think that's possible?
No, I don't think so. I think just he's over his head. I mean, I don't know why they hired him as a head coach, because he was never a head coach. They gave him opportunity. Again, thinking outside the box, but this guy's definitely not up to the job. Because if you look at the game plan, forget about it. There was no game plan. It just basically like every time Hurts got the ball, the idea was just make something happen. It reminded me of Carson Wentz days, where you just scramble around, either run for it or, I don't know, do something so that something happens. There was no plan. Dallas had an excellent plan. I mean, that was amazing. I was very, very impressed the way they were, driving up and down the field. But as far as the Eagles, I don't think there was any plan yesterday. It was just basically, let's see what happens. And
Yeah, I agree. And I'll tell you, when Sirianni had his first press conference, we can all agree he was nervous. He didn't sound good. And I gave him a pass. But the more he talked, the more I really started to become a believer in this guy. That this guy really knows the X's and the O's and, and like personnel groupings and all this stuff. And after week one, it's almost like he doesn't have to me, it just seems like he doesn't have a clue. So I don't know. Like, I know that you can't fire this. If this guy goes 1-16 this year, I don't think you can fire him. You have to give him another year. And I'm curious to see how a guy like him can rebound. I am still pulling for him. So, that's just my feeling on the whole thing with Sirianni.
I'm pulling for him, and I think we're going to have some growing pains with him because he's young and he's a new coach. But even the front office, they got to look at this guy and think, are the vets going to follow him after a couple more weeks? If we just keep losing and coming out so unprepared, and he's wearing T-shirts of beat this team and beat that team, like, are the vets going to get behind this guy?
Yeah, I agree.
That was the thing from the get-go. The thing is that initially his style maybe would excite the young players.
Right.
But, coming back today, wearing that T-shirt comes across being patronizing the Philadelphia fans. I don't need the head coach to wear a T-shirt saying, beat Dallas. I want him to go and beat them when it matters, not when he's wearing a T-shirt.
Yeah, and then
basically happen.
And then if you lose like a man. I don't want to hear you go in your press conference and praise the team.
Exactly.
Get out of here
you
with
wear
that.
A T-shirt says beat Dallas, and then you come back and says, "Wow, that's a good team." You're an idiot. That's your job.
What the hell?
I agree. I agree 100%.
Do you think he was hired because he was a yes man?
Yes.
Possible.
I'm with that 100%. Like, when you hear people talk, there's what's the old saying? Where there's a spark, there's fire. Like, I'm on board with that 100%. That he's a yes man for them. He's going to be like a little puppet, like kind of like what Peterson was in the beginning. And then it seemed like when Peterson wanted to take control, they're like, "Whoa, this isn't how it goes here." I mean, I could be way wrong, but that's just the impression I get.
I don't think Deuce Staley was qualified really to be the head coach. But do you think Deuce Staley would lose to Dallas and then have a press conference and talk about how great Dallas is?
Right.
Like,
No, I agree.
Come on.
I agree. And you know what? I think maybe he's going to learn from all this, and hopefully he does. But we got to give the guy a chance. Jimmy, let me go to you with this. Let's break down Hurts's performance. As I said at the beginning, he was 25 for 39, 326 yards and 2 TDs. Your thoughts?
He showed resilience, right? He showed resilience. First interception, I'm trying to remember. That was
He underthrew Reagor in the end zone.
By about 5 yards.
Yeah, that was under.
Yeah, but do you think? Now, let me just ask you.
That was a pick six. That's a pick six.
That was the pick six, right?
Yeah, but did you see Reagor getting separation? That's a problem I have.
Reagor had the guy beat, but there was a safety over top. So
he was, but he was getting there late. I don't know if he had him beat. That's hard to say, but he did underthrow him. But so anyway, Jimmy, go ahead.
I just what were we talking about? The first interception that was underthrown, right? That was the one that was,
Yeah, that was underthrown.
he lofted it up. Yeah. I'll give him the only thing that I admire what he did last night was his resilience. That's it.
Yeah.
I do have questions about him. Then again, like it's only his 7th start. Is it that it? 7th
That's it.
start. I mean, I'm not sold on him, honestly. Like if you were to ask me today, I think they're going to go and get their quarterback in the draft, in 2022. But I admire his resilience.
I'm go ahead, hey.
Yeah, I like him as a guy. I think he's a smart kid, but I don't think he has it. I don't think he has the arm strength. I don't think he has the accuracy. And that's something you don't build. You either got it or you don't. And I think that's why, he could be a nice guy and a leader or whatever, but he's not a quarterback in an NFL. Sorry, man.
I'm going to disagree with all of you. And I think that he does have it. And I think he's got all the technical skills to be a very good quarterback. I'm not going to say that he's going to be a franchise quarterback. I think he can be a very good quarterback in this league. What I really admire about him is that when they're behind, it seems like nothing else is working. He tries to take the team on his back and, look at his first read. That doesn't happen. Then he runs the ball. But then again, he commits the often fatal mistakes of he doesn't look off his first receiver to the second. He really is, to me, he seems like he's struggling with his progressions. But then again, let's really look at the wide receivers. Are they truly getting separation? Well, what do you think?
I think they are. I just rewatched the game. There's receivers open in the middle of the field that he's just not looking at. He's taking the snap and he's looking 4 yards to his right or 4 yards to his left. And if the guy's not there, which normally he's not because the linebackers are playing up and they're playing like a cover 2 with flats. The corners are playing up. It's either I don't know. He's so frustrating to me lately because I understand it's only 7 games, but most quarterbacks learn to look for their second guy. If the first guy's not there, look at your second option. And I'm still not seeing any of that whatsoever. And the way he gets the snap and he only stares at one receiver, everyone knows where the ball's going as soon as he takes the snap, and that's a real problem.
Now, do you think some of that's because he doesn't know how to play from behind?
But even to that point, and Armin, mentioned that like he takes the team on his back, and he, if that first guy's not there, he's running a lot. That's not how you win games, and we can't always play from behind all the time, and that's what we're going to rely on. We got teams in this league win by passing the ball, and to pass the ball, you also have to run the ball, which is Sirianni's problem because we're not running the ball at all. But that's also not helping Jalen Hurts. But you have to be able to pass the ball, and some of the best passers make their money over the middle, and that's not what we're doing at all. It's quick screens, it's short slants, or third down, I'm going to take a shot deep and throw into cover 2 and just hope for the best.
Well, do you attribute some of that to coaching?
Absolutely.
Well,
Coach Sirianni, it's like I'm watching my high school play. That's what they do. High schools, they do the quick short passes, and that's it. It's so simple.
I'm sorry, but did anyone get the feeling that you could tell by Hurts's body language that he just seemed to be inside, like very disappointed. So I don't know if he was directing some of that to himself, or maybe the play calling, or maybe the routes that the guys were running, or maybe the blocking on the offensive line. So
he looked rattled to me. For the first time ever, Jalen Hurts looked rattled, because usually he actually looks calm and he looks like he's, he almost looks like we always have a chance. But last night he looked rattled.
Well, they had a chance. Like midway in the third quarter, they were down by 27-13. They get a touchdown. They're down by 6 points, and they're right back in the game. That's what I didn't understand.
I agree with the Will. I mean, the stage was too big for him yesterday. It was Monday night, Dallas.
We all felt it.
was on him and he wasn't
Well,
ready for the prime.
let's
time.
give him a pass because it's his first time. So
I look,
listen,
I mean,
we got
they
two
had the-
young guys here.
they had the chance to turn the game around at halftime. Before halftime, they put points on the board right before half, and you get the ball and score again like a good team does. It's a totally different game now.
No, I agree. No, I agree.
That's what I was
Vahe,
saying.
yeah, I agree 100%. Vahe, let's go to the offensive line. Uh, just give me your thoughts overall on the offensive line and where this whole group is at as a whole.
I don't think this line is that bad. I mean, he still has time. And the thing is that it's all the scheme. I mean, the thing is that if you don't think your line is really good, let him roll out. But I don't think there was a plan. First, they weren't running to begin with. I mean, where was the run game from the get-go? I mean, I don't know how many times they ran the ball. It was constantly pass. And
They had 3 runs outside of Hurts, 2 by Sanders and 1 by,
that's it.
yeah.
And
one by
I mean,
Diggs.
Andre Dillard, I think he played pretty well. I mean,
Yeah.
other kid, the fresh kid is probably a little bit weak, but Dillard, he did well. And I don't think it was the line. He didn't get sacked, did he? Well,
He got sacked twice.
he got sacked twice. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. It was a rush from the middle.
But I gotta tell you, he eludes the rush pretty good too. But I watched the game pass today, and I still think that Dickerson is struggling. I mean, he's still not there yet. I still do think he'll be a very good lineman. I believe that when Brooks comes back, he'll probably go on the left side. It takes Samalu's place, and I can see them being a good run offense possibly. Now, last week I kind of threw Kelsey under the bus a little bit, but I got to tell you, he's tough. I mean, I watched his whole game, like real close up. He played really hard, ran real hard on, like screen passes, the few that they had. And the guy just is very healthy. He never gets hurt. And you got all these guys that are just getting hurt all the time. Brooks is out. Serimalu's out. 2 guys on injured reserve, the 2 guards. And then you got Mulata, who's got a hamstring. He tweaked his hamstring. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. And then Johnson's the guy all along that I was worried about. They say that his ankle swells after almost every game. So are we going back to this again?
It's every year.
Good.
It's
It's
been
every year.
like this for the last 3 years. Like, we can't rely on them anymore. We just can't.
No, I agree. Let's go to the defense now. Will, I know that you had some really some negative things to say about what Gannon was running, but just give me your thoughts on how the defense played last night and what tweaks you think need to be made.
Well, the defense, we had a too high safety almost the entire night after the Cowboys repeatedly just kept thrashing us up the middle. We made no tweaks. Man, Gannon really needs to look at this tape real long and real hard, because it's almost common sense. If a team's going to keep running draw plays up the middle on you, bring another guy in the box. Like, it's simple. When I rewatched the film, one guy that really, really bothered me is Derek Barnett. He looks pointless out there. It almost looks like he's taking off plays. He'll go to rush the edge, and then he'll actually have the guy beat, and the quarterback will be back in the pocket before he even steps up, and he just backs off. Or he takes his rush and he tries to do a spin move, but he just leans his back into the offensive lineman. It's pointless. Like, the guy, it's almost like he has no moves, or he just doesn't care. He's not trying.
And his penalties
Yeah,
nonstop.
Josh Sweat needs to be out there all the time. Like, this guy is just a waste of space anymore.
He
And
causes penalties too.
yeah,
There was
he
one
hurts-
play,
he hurts
I
us.
think there was a touchdown or the first down, and then he caused them a penalty, and then they had to come back.
Yeah,
The
he did.
downfield, right? He was something happened that he caused him a penalty. I don't.
He was offsides, I think, on 3rd and long. And it ended up
Yes, exactly.
being 3rd and 4. And that just, I think that almost blew Sirianni's cap off at that point. He was just so upset.
I can't tell you how many times I saw both of our defensive tackles getting double teamed, and then everybody else is getting single block, and they still have an extra blocker to get downfield. We weren't touching the runner until about 8 yards down the field. And if that keeps happening over and over and over again, you got to bring somebody up. You can't have both safeties, back. At least bring the strong safety up a little bit just to give a little more support.
Our linebackers look like a
They're a joke.
They're horrible.
They look like a bunch of special team guys that they just threw out there and say go out there.
You
see the difference between the Cowboys defense and our defense. Look at their linebackers. They value that position.
Look at the way the Cowboys have drafted big physical players like receivers, big corners, big safeties. Their linebackers are stacked.
Look at their.
And you look at the Eagles. We just want to be quick. We want to be these fast, quick team, but they look like a bunch of little boys out there.
Well, they get. I noticed it a lot. Of like what was really bothering me yesterday was when they got past the line of scrimmage, which they did many, many times yesterday. It seems like they were dragging the linebackers a couple of yards. I like Singleton, but I just don't know if he's the starter in this league. He's a nice little player. He's a very good special teams player. But he gets moved around a lot. And that who's it? Not Harris. Wilson. He will not be with this team next year. He will not be with this team. I'm pulling for that guy Johnson, the 7th round draft pick out of Tulane. He's a tough player, and I can see him playing on the outside. I'm not sold on Avery at all. But what I noticed is that Gannon had the linebackers playing pretty deep. And when they got to the second tier, it just seemed like by the time the linebackers got to them, the running back was already 5 yards, like past the line of scrimmage. And then they would drag the guy for a couple of yards. It kind of reminded me, that game yesterday reminded me of 2 high school teams that play. And like neither team, like a lot of high school teams just run the ball. And it's like one team's real good and the other team's not real good. And the one team is just blasting them left and right, like right up the middle every time. And it just seemed like they could do whatever they wanted to do. If they wanted to throw, they could throw and get some yards. If they wanted to run, they could run. And that's what made it really frustrating for me. And the coaches
they look confused. They look confused too. I think it was the last touchdown or the one before. Dak had all day and 2 wide open guys in the end zone. And our linebackers were like completely confused. They were like out of place and they didn't know where they were.
And I know
2 wide open. I mean, he could have gone to either one of them. I don't remember which one. Ended up getting a touchdown.
I know exactly what play you're talking about too. We rushed 3 guys. 3 guys. You know how many people are all out there trying to cover and there's still 2 guys wide open?
Wide open.
How is that possible? How is that possible? And it was like, they're like the 15 or the 10-yard line. There's not a lot of end zone space. How are they that open?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And now all of a sudden you feel like they have depth issues. But Vahe, this is probably going to be one of the most important questions I have in this entire podcast. Who's now the leader of this team?
Nobody.
Well, Kelsey kind of is, but you really want a defensive leader,
right.
Who is the leader of this team right now?
Where's
the Brian Dawkins? Like, who's the Brian Dawkins of this defense right now?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, the linebackers, they look like amateurs.
Maybe Barnett should be because he commits personal foul penalties. I don't know. I mean, who is the leader? That's a problem now too.
No identity. I was hoping Sweat was going to step up or somebody.
No, he's not a vocal leader. And I got to tell you, I watched that entire game yesterday. He does have a signature move. He's got a beautiful spin move to get to the quarterback. He really can get out muscled. Like he's not a guy that's going to bull rush his way to the quarterback. And he had a half a sack. Him and Maddox had a half a sack yesterday. Nobody even blocked him. He just ran in and he just got his part of the sack. he really didn't contribute that much. And I'm not going to say he's not worth the money, but I think he's good if he's part of a rotation. But now he's going to be playing a lot more.
Mhm.
So, and then getting back to Barnett doesn't have a signature move to get to the quarterback. None. He just I don't know, for $10 million, don't you think a year, don't you think that you can develop some kind of a move to the quarterback? So I don't know. I think
Is
it's
any-
just,
And that's one of our better draft picks. in the
Yeah.
recent-
no, well, they got three. And speaking of the draft picks, you got Miami that lost, Indianapolis lost. And then the Eagles lost.
We might have 3 top 10. Where'd that-
You never know.
I-
That's very possible.
I think what Indy's gonna do, once they get to that point, they're gonna bench him. They're not,
Well, I'll tell you what, he's not playing that good. So that's a problem. But he's hanging in there, and he's played in just about all the
not gonna
plays.
give you a top 10 on a silver platter. No way, no how.
Yeah.
Did anybody get the feel watching the defense that it seemed a whole lot like Jim Schwartz last year, where we didn't blitz a single player?
I don't think Gannon's got guys that he feel are adequate enough to blitz. And I just think that I don't know. I just think that it opens things up for the linebackers to try to make plays. I just want to get, like you're talking about the blitz, and let's focus on the linebackers again real quick. I know TJ Edwards played a really good game yesterday. I think he's tough. He's physical. He can't really cover out of the backfield. They absolutely need linebackers. I don't know why this team for the last 10 years does not value the linebacker position in the draft. It's never addressed. I think that right now, defensively, the linebackers are the Achilles heel of this team, even though none of them are injured. So, that's just my thought on this whole thing.
I definitely agree with that. They look like special teamers out there. They
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, they do. All right, so let's get the hell off of the Cowboys. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs they play the Chiefs at 1:00 at the Link Sunday. The Chiefs are 1-2. Lost their last 2 games. Their defense can't stop anyone right now. So, I got some thoughts about that game. And then Andy Reid was taken to the hospital after the game. Well, just give me your thoughts here. Can Sirianni and his coaches outcoach Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, and Steve Spagnuolo on defense, who always has a good game plan for the Eagles?
No. Simple answer, no, they can't. And I get that, that Andy Reid is a great coach and Sirianni is unproven, but really that's not even what it comes down to. Kansas City has too many weapons that really that can attack our defense so perfectly. Like Andy Reid is really good at designing run plays. Obviously, our linebackers can't stop it, and we're getting no pressure. And Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends in the game. Who's going to cover him? I don't know who's going to cover him. And then you can't give him any help because you got Tyreek Hill that's going to run straight down the field all over the place. It's a matchup nightmare this week.
Not to mention they've lost 2 in a row, so they're
Yeah,
they're
I'm
not gonna be
fired up.
happy coming in here. I was watching the game, the San Diego Chief game, thinking this isn't good because they're going to come in even more fired up.
but I'll tell you what, the Chargers are for real. They
They're
may have
really
lost
good.
to Dallas, but they're a very, very good
Yep.
team.
I like Herbert a lot too. He's a really good quarterback.
Yeah, he's tall and he stands in there.
To go back to Kelce, his numbers are incredible. He just constantly 6 catches, 8 catches, 100 yards, touchdown, 2 touchdowns. It's incredible what he does.
Who's
Yeah,
going to
but
cover him?
Like, was it this Sunday where he made that one run where he went he caught the ball 15 yards and he went another 60 running down the field, trucking people. He's a football player.
And if you think, I guarantee you, the first thing Andy Reid is going to do, he's going to just start running the ball at the middle and seeing how long we stay with a cover 2 defense. He's going to attack that all day until he sees us make a change.
No, I agree. But their offensive line is nowhere near as good as it was last year. Eric Fisher is gone, and I don't know who's playing left tackle, but they're really struggling. I mean, Mahomes is getting hit a lot more now. And I tell you, I'm just going to reach out to Vahe on this one. What do you think the Eagles have to do Sunday to control time of possession against the Chiefs?
Blitz. That's the only hope you have. Don't give Mahomes time to set the plays and then throw the ball, because your secondary, they're not good. Your linebackers, they're not good. The only hope you have is basically put him in a difficult situation. That's it. Otherwise, it's going to be short time like it was yesterday.
Gannon never blitzes though. So,
Well,
that's the problem. I don't think he's got a go-to blitz guy.
Like Will said, who's gonna guard Kelsey?
Yeah.
Kelsey.
Yeah.
Who's on Hill? You don't have it. It's like an amateur night. I mean, yesterday was an amateur night, and I'm afraid it's going to be amateur morning on Sunday. Honest to God, and it's not. I mean, I say it with pain because I wanted to win, at least to put a fight, but doesn't look like it. They don't have the personnel to match.
You gotta
Jimmy,
try.
Yeah, good.
We gotta try to slow the game down. We only ran the ball 3 times this week. Next week we have to run the ball just to slow the game down, so they don't, because Kansas City can jump on you quick, just like Dallas did. And if Sirianni goes into this game with the same mentality of we gotta outscore them, we're not gonna win. We gotta slow the game down, establish the run, and then slowly work in the play action. That would be my suggestion.
Like if you do the same thing you did with Dallas, you send 3 guys in, right? Mahomes is going to have whole day to find something, and it's going to connect. I mean, it's really a stud. What do you expect to happen?
Yeah, and he's too good not to find somebody open, and those receivers are too good not to eventually find the sweet spots of the defense. You have to put pressure on them, and you got to change up the looks. If you want to sit in the cover 2, slide one of the safeties in and out of the box just to mix some things up.
Yeah, I agree. But I'll tell you, Jimmy, I want to pose this to you. Their run defense is very porous, Kansas City, outside of Chris Jones, who's really going to be a problem, and that's going to be the right tackle. Lane Johnson's responsibility and he's going to be very hard to neutralize. How much do you think, what do you think the ratio should be? Do you think they should be running the ball this Sunday a lot more than passing?
I would run the ball a lot more, just mainly to try to keep their offense off the field. But how are we going to run the ball? I mean, Corey Clement, the Cowboys' 3rd string running back, had more carries than Miles Sanders last night. So
Yeah,
I don't have much,
Jimmy,
not that confident in the run, but that's why we missed those big backs we had when we went to the Super Bowl. Like, I would love for LeGarrette Blount to be on this team. Remember, you know what I mean? Just pound the ball. Like, I know I know it's a passing league, but you also have some sort of a running game. And we don't have anything. I mean, I'd never seen anything like last night. Like 2 runs, that's crazy.
yeah.
our punter had more possessions than our running back.
I was joking around. I don't know if I text you guys or not. I was like, at least we have a hell of a punter.
Yeah, he's great.
He started the game.
He's got good backspin on that boy. Gets that backspin.
That's one good spot about the Eagles this year. So we got a great punter.
All right.
And Jake Elliott hasn't missed a field goal.
Yeah, that's great. It's great to know. All right, we're going to end this podcast with our predictions again. Right now, Jim, the Big V is 1-0. These are the predictions for the game against Dallas. The Big V had Dallas winning 31-20. Will had Dallas winning 24-20. Vahe had the Eagles winning 24-21. And I'm not going to tell you what I got. So do you guys have an idea who you think is the closest?
Jimmy.
No doubt.
My other bets were this good.
The Big V is 2-0. All right. So the Eagles play 1:00, a nice sunny day, no wind, supposedly this Sunday at the Link.
I'll be there.
Well, you're also going to give me your prediction right now.
Not gonna like it. I think it's gonna be Kansas City 38, Eagles 17.
Okay. Will,
I'm gonna one up Jimmy. I'm gonna go 41, 41-21 Chiefs.
Vahe,
Don't you dare say the Eagles,
I'm gonna
Bob.
go Eagles, and they cannot play as bad as they played yesterday, but the matchup is like really, it's not there. I mean, I don't think they don't have anything. So I would go Kansas City 40, Eagles 20.
I'm going to go against the grain. I think a lot of jobs are going to be on the line. The players are going to play their hearts out. I think they're going to run the ball and control time of possession. I'm going to pick the Eagles 30-27. I think it's going to be a great, great game on both sides of the football. I just want to leave you with this. Dallas's offensive and defensive line is a lot better than Kansas City's offensive and defensive line. So I think you're going to see a much less physical game than you saw last week. But I will close by saying this. I was very impressed with Dallas. I mean, they are one tough football team. And I see them almost even though they almost lost their first two games, I see them possibly at the top of the heat in the NFC. I really do.
Coaching might get them in the end.
Yeah.
The only issue they got.
Yeah, he made a couple bonehead decisions last night too.
Yeah, at the end of the first half, there was almost like a minute and a half. They just let their clock run down.
He had a chance to
That's
stick a
what
fork in the
he do.
Eagles. Yeah. He had a
That's what I
chance
like to
throw
hear.
it.
That's what I like to hear, guys. We're not gonna talk about how great Dallas was. They stink.
Yeah.
Their coaches are horrible.
They're going to lose. They'll get in the play. They'll win the division and they'll lose in the first.
Yeah, they'll lose the first round. Bunch of bums.
And I'm going to predict that Sirianni's going to have a kick-ass attitude in his press conference on Wednesday.
Might wear a T-shirt too, saying
I'm an ass.
Beat the Chiefs.
Beat Kansas.
Yeah. So, all right, we're going to wrap this up. Week 3 is in the books. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
See you guys.
All right.
Yeah.